Hi, I'm Richard Waugh from Zycus, and welcome to our video series on procurement performance, where today's topic will be the P2P playbook, or procure to pay. The playbook part being the 6 key steps to drive e-procurement or procure to pay success. Step number 1, it starts with benchmarking, understanding where your current performance levels are when you look at that operational process for requisitioning, ordering, and paying for indirect materials and services in your business. So some relevant benchmarks that come from the Aberdeen Group: best-in-class performers have 80% of their spend under management. And almost all of that they're able to tie directly to procurement contract compliance, 78% on contract spend. What that yields in terms of savings for the best-in-class: 12% realized and implemented savings. Hard dollar benefits. They're also realizing a number of process improvements, softer dollar benefits. So best in class, when you look at their requisition to order cycle time, it's a day or less. Order costs $23 on average. When it comes to invoice processing, the best in class are able to complete that process in 3 days or less at a cost of about $3. And they're 2 times as likely as everyone else to be able to take advantage of prompt payment discounts because they've got a more efficient process for invoice and payment processing. So that's step 1, is benchmarking. Where are you against those best-in-class performers? And that's going to feed into step 2, putting together a business case analysis that says what is the potential improvement as we strive towards those best-in-class performance levels. The business case analysis will take into account both the hard dollar cost savings to be driven from greater contract compliance, as well as the efficiency gains through a more efficient process. Step 3, when looking at implementing procure to pay, focus on end user adoption. It's easy to get bogged down in feature function, but the key to adoption at this point is ease of use for end users. And that's both for your end users and your suppliers. So where first generation procurement solutions often fell behind the targeted adoption levels, it was really because the solutions were too difficult to use. And procure-to-pay solutions, unlike really any other procurement solution or almost any enterprise software in general, have a much larger footprint. So the potential user base for procure-to-pay could be any employee in your business who could become an occasional shopper or an approver of a requisition in a procure-to-pay system. So it has to be easy to use. It has to be intuitive. It has to be that Amazon kind of shopping experience that consumers are used to. So focus on adoption, make sure it's easy. And step 4 then is design for compliance. So when you look at the processes that you want to follow, the workflow approvals and so on, make sure that they tie to your policies and procedures, that you can implement category-specific workflows to make sure that you're following the right routines. For instance, if you're managing hazardous materials, or if you have IT purchases that have to be routed through the IT function before that requisition gets approved and turned into an order. Have a compliant process. And one of the big gaps from a compliance standpoint with first-generation P2P solutions has been off-catalog purchases. So one of the biggest challenges with P2P is not all products fit neatly into the catalog model. That is, that they're a standard product that can be easily described with an item description, a unit of measure, a part number, a price, all those kinds of things. For most businesses, over 50% of their spend in indirect materials and services involves non-catalog purchases, complex products or complex services that don't lend themselves to a catalog model. So when looking at compliance, how do you drive a compliant process for an off-catalog requisition? So make sure that those requisitions are correctly coded and classified, that they're applied to approve vendor contracts, to eliminate maverick buying, and that they follow the category-specific workflow approval process so that you've got full spend coverage around both catalog and non-catalog spend, accounting for as much of that indirect material and services, the 80% spend under management, or 78% procurement contract compliance that the best in class are achieving right now. Now, when it comes to rolling out procure-to-pay, a best practice is to prioritize the plan. The big bang approach seldom works here. Phasing is a much better strategy. So look at rolling out procure-to-pay by geography or business unit, getting some early wins under your belt, and then building on that momentum. Also looking at category-based phasing, onboarding, for instance, your top tier suppliers, the ones that are generating 80% of your transactions, even though they may only account for 20% of your suppliers. They should be prioritized as you look at implementing a procure-to-pay system. And step 6, don't forget about the larger integrated whole. So visualizing the future and an integrated state where procure-to-pay is not just an island of automation for operational procurement, but is fully integrated with the end-to-end continuum of source-to-pay activities. So the suppliers in your procure-to-pay system are coming from your supplier master and your supplier information management. That when you go through a sourcing project and negotiate an agreement, put it in place in a contract management system, that information, the items, the pricing, the terms, come directly into your catalog environment or procure-to-pay system. That how a supplier performs on an ongoing basis actually influences the search results that your users see. So they should see a preference given to your top performing suppliers in terms of the priority appearance. Or maybe you want to flag disadvantaged businesses or green items. Have all that feed into your procure-to-pay system and ultimately tie procure-to-pay back to your actual spend data to ensure that you're getting utilization and compliance with those agreements to get the best results. So hope you got some benefit out of reviewing the steps in the P2P playbook. There's best practices to be followed here. There's actually an ebook available for you if you want to go into these steps in more detail. And here's to the best success in e-procurement with the Procure-to-Pay playbook. Thanks very much for your time today.